Oh, sweat on. Coming off that flat after Little Man and then getting back on the incline definitely woke my legs up. That is not a bad view out the tent door at all. Hello YouTube, and welcome to today's adventure on a Cumbrian Lad Outdoors. As always, it's great to have the regular viewers join me, and a big welcome to any new viewers that have joined me on this one. I'm already out on the trail. You can just see the top end of the car park at Underscar, just below Latrigg, and we are at the foot of Skiddaw. You can see the winding path heading up the mountain there, and it is a glorious day today in the Lake District. Look at these views. (16 Celsius on the drive over, and we've got 14 Celsius predicted overnight, with less than 5% of the area with any rainfall, so it's the perfect day for it. I am carrying a little bit of an injury from last week. I've got a very tight back. I've pulled a muscle in my lower left back which is pulling on my hip. So the plan for today is to summit Skiddaw Little Man and then on to Skiddaw. Obviously we can change that plan around should I start to struggle, but fingers crossed we're going to bag 2 Wainwrights and get an awesome wild camping. This one's been on my list for a little while now. A lot of the people that I know that have done it have said the walk up is quite boring, but the views from the top of both summits are absolutely awesome. Right, time to crack on in this lovely sunny weather. Just out of the car park at Underscar, you turn a left and then left again. A little bit of undulating flat and you're very quickly at the bottom of the path up to Skiddaw. You can see it's a very well maintained clear path, and it's like this the majority of the way to the top, and you can see just how steep that is. And this path has been here in this shape or form since the Victorian times. You can see the path there. That is the path that I took on the Cumbrian Way with Adam in the Wild and camping down 85, so the little walk to here has brought back some happy memories. But for now I'm going to make a start on the steep ascent to the first summit of the day, Skiddaw Little Man. I've come to the conclusion today that slow and steady will most definitely win the race. Boy, this is steep, and it's a very gravelly path, so I keep getting little slips. You can see down there I've come not very far at all, but already wow, that is unbelievable. It's so good to get a sunny day, feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, and actually get some decent views for a change. Today's a good day. To be fair, actually up until now the going hasn't been too bad. Although it is relentlessly steep, there hasn't been many flat spots to take an actual rest. I've been having to stop on the incline, which is kind of making my calves a bit stiff, but so worth it on a day like this. The views are literally getting better with every single step that I take. That's the way I'm heading, and I'm going to be hanging a left to Skiddaw Little Man very shortly, where the direct route to Skiddaw would take you straight on. Look at this, I think that's High Rig there, looking straight down on Latrigg now. Castle Crag at the far end of Derwent Water. Most of these I've camped. I think there's Causey Pike there, Barra, Grisdale Pike. Absolutely glorious. Today is a better day than any day we had last summer. Absolutely fabulous this. I am starting to sweat a little bit as well, but it's all good. We've got a nice cooling breeze which is wicking the sweat away. I've just bumped into one of my subscribers on the way up. He was on the day out walking with his son. It's always nice to bump into my subscribers. He did say his name, but I am as bad with names as I am with numbers, so apologies mate, but I did get a nice photo with him, so that's going to be in tonight's photo footage. The path has levelled off a little bit, and just the other side of here is the path that takes you directly to Skiddaw. Like I say, we're on the way to Little Man. 5 minutes here and then I'm going to continue. Although I'm sweating, that breeze is keeping me relatively cool, and we have just hit a very, very welcome, more or less flat bit. We're starting to ascend again soon, and you can see the Little Man and Skiddaw itself just ahead of me. Views for days, absolute days. It's so nice to get out on a decent day, it really is. Oh, after that little flat bit, there's a very slight incline, and I've come to the end of that. This is where that other path leads you out to, and one of these two is Skiddaw Little Man. I thought when I was further down there I could see Little Man and Skiddaw, but Skiddaw itself's quite a bit further on. It was a little bit of an optical illusion. Now whether this path here takes you directly to Skiddaw, I'm not entirely sure, but I know I'm definitely going that way. We're starting to lose the view over Keswick and Derwent Water now, but starting to get the views the other side. Right, I'm going to take on a little bit of water now, and then I'm going to push on to the summit of Skiddaw Little Man. That little path there was very steep. Oh, sweat on. We have just reached the summit that Google Maps says is the Little Man. We've got some wrecked fencing, but I believe that's Skiddaw Little Man right there. Views over Keswick and Derwent Water have opened right back up again. Virtually 360 views. Yeah, that summit that way has got to be Little Man. It's got to be. But just to be on the safe side, we're going to tap the top here before I make my way up that next hill. I've just been duly informed by a lovely lady that that little summit behind me with the wrecked fencing is Jenkin Hill, and as you can see I am just about to summit Skiddaw Little Man. Skiddaw Little Man. Wainwright number 70 for me, done and boshed. Another one off the list, and the first of two today. Ooh-wee. Also today, 7 months since I last had a beer or any alcoholic drink, so I don't do this very often. I'm pretty harsh on myself. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. Ooh. We've got a cracking view on Dodd Summit just in front of me. If you scroll down a few videos, you'll see I did a camp there in the snow. It was frozen, and I got the most wonderful sunset and sunrise photos. So if you fancy checking it out, like I say, just scroll down a few videos and you can have a look at that. I'm not sure what the peaks are over there, but somewhere in that direction is Skiddaw Summit. So I am going to crack on, get it done. I have spotted a few places to camp here on Little Man, should I need to. But we'll get up on top of Skiddaw and see what it's like there. I've just descended from the Little Man and I'm on a lovely little bit of flat. Views have kind of subsided a little bit. I can't see any of the lakes or anything like that. Like I say, a nice little bit of flat. You can see that other path joining in from the right, and I don't think that's the summit of Skiddaw. I think the summit is a little bit further on. But other than that initial climb, to be fair, it's not been too bad. Fitness is really good. My back and my hip, as I've been moving, seems to have gone a little bit. It seems to only be when I stop and sit down that it really starts to bother me. So happy days. I can see the trig point just in front of me. 0.35 of a mile to go, and let me tell you, coming off that flat after Little Man and then getting back on the incline definitely woke my legs up. They're shouting at me now. Just that little bit of extra incline has made all the difference with the views. Look at this. Absolutely glorious, man. The breeze has picked up a little bit, but that's all it is, a breeze. Oh, not far to go now. Skiddaw, Wainwright number 2 for the day, and number 71 in total. Oh, I've done and boshed it, mate. Nice views down on the Bass Lake. And the plaque showing us all the mountains. That wind sure has picked up and it is quite cool. Not that I'm complaining, but I imagine 5 or so minutes and I'm going to be cold. Around the trig point, and pretty much as far as the eye can see is solid ground and stones. Not ideal for pitching a tent. So I'm going to get myself out of that wind, take on board some water, put my fleece on, have a scout around, but it looks like I'll be heading back to the Little Man to camp tonight. I'm back on that lovely flat bit between Skiddaw and Little Man. When I was on the summit there, the wind started to really pick up as I was looking round to try and find a pitch. I had a good look around, but I just couldn't find anything, not anything worth it anyways. And I've heard a lot of people say that the views from Little Man are better than that from Skiddaw, and you know what, they're right. Anywhere in this gap I could pitch, but other than the views of some mountain tops this side and some mountain tops that side, nothing of any real significance to sit and enjoy while I have my tea and watch the sun go down. And especially with it being such a glorious day, I really wanted a summit camp. So Skiddaw Little Man it is. Just the last little bit of ascent for the day, and then I can get the rucksack off, get the chair set up, kick back and enjoy them views. Well, I'm back on Little Man now. Although it is still a little bit breezy, it's nowhere near as bad as it was on Skiddaw. If anything, the views are a little bit more hazy right now, but still fantastic views and a lovely sunny day. And just the back side of it, just there, is a nice little flat pitch with the Cumbrian Yeti's name on it. So I'm going to get the rucksack off, get my fleece and my down jacket on, get the chair set up and enjoy. It's coming up 3:15 and I've cleared my pitch for the night, but obviously it's far too early to be setting the tent up, and I think sunset tonight's going to be somewhere between 6, 6:30. So I'll be looking at setting the tent up maybe 20 past, 5:30. Sat here enjoying the views, and I've decided that my stomach's pulling. Around here there was some rocks laid around. Someone unfortunately has decided to have a fire. So what I've done is I've gathered the rocks and placed my rucksack to make a windbreak so I can have my tea. Tonight's tea is Korean pork belly in hoisin stir fry with spicy noodles. And I've had quite a lot of comments and messages regarding making a video on how I prep my food for the mylar bags, and I've actually filmed that last night, so keep an eye out on the channel. It'll either be the video before this or the video after this or somewhere thereabouts. So if you're interested in how to prepare food in the mylar bags, then you can go and check that video out. So I'm going to get my tea on, why not? And it makes a refreshing change to be able to sit out and enjoy it to a view in the sunshine. Oh. Having my food outside the tent has been a rare treat these days. Cracking view over Derwent Water and the surrounding mountains. Skiddaw behind me, Skiddaw Little Man in front of me. Perfect. And I'm definitely ready for this. And that is good. As the sun's getting lower in the sky, that wind is getting colder, and I am starting to look forward to getting the tent up, although this is warming my hands nicely. I think now we're getting to the longer days and I'm starting to walk a little bit further. I'm going to have to start bringing some snacks with me on the walks and camps again. I'm definitely ready for this. Cheers everyone. Perfection this is. It's now 5:30. I've had an awesome time just sitting out, taking the views in, chatting with people that have been walking past. It's been absolutely brilliant. But the sun is starting to set, the tent is up, and that wind is getting ever colder. We've got the last few stragglers on top of Skiddaw. Look at this. Slightly less hazy than it was before. But what a cracking pitch for the scarp for the night. Great views down towards Keswick and Derwent Water still. I've packed the chair away, so it's time to get inside the tent and get out of this wind. I've already had my tea and it was so nice to be able to sit out and enjoy it outside the tent with some nice views. Hopefully there's a lot more of that to come this year. It's the standard setup for me. I've got me Yeti brekkie with black pudding for morning. I've got one Heineken Zero left. I have had to bring a spare canister of gas with me. Does anybody else end up with loads of tins of gas with just a little bit left in? I must have about 1,000 at home. So I'm trying to use the last up in my small MSR one. So I wanted to have a backup with me. I have just noticed that I've got half of last week's breakfast still on my down jacket. And also on my sleeping bag. Tactical Duck says, I'm a mucky pup. If you know, you know. So that's me inside the tent for the night. As soon as you get inside, you can feel that wind chill just vanish. And I have set the tent up absolutely perfectly. Look at this. That is not a bad view out the tent door at all. So it's time for the camera to go down for a little bit. It's too windy to get the drone up. I'm absolutely gutted about that because I'd have got some amazing footage, but I am going to see if I can get you a nice time lapse of the sun. So I'm going to get my down pants and socks on, knock the camera off like I say, but I will speak to you again before bedtime. It's now 7 o'clock and it is absolutely pitch dark outside. The wind has picked up and it is a little chilly inside the tent. But what a fantastic day out it's been so far. Cracking weather, 2 cracking summits. I've been able to sit out, enjoy the views and have my tea. I really am looking forward to some more of this year. I really am. I've missed it terribly. I'm really happy with the fitness today. I wasn't out of breath at all, but I do need to work on my endurance, which is why I've started doing the longer walks. Consequently, I am quite tired, so I'm going to get my head down, get an early night. As always, enjoy the photos and footage I've got for you overnight, and we'll see you in the morning. morning everyone. A good night's sleep, just shy of 7 hours. The wind has backed off through the night, although it is a little breezy outside. Got a nice view of the moon outside the tent as well. Looks reasonably clear outside. See the lights of the towns and villages. No cramp last night, so my legs are obviously starting to get a bit conditioned, which is good. And my back and my hip don't feel too bad this morning either, which is a big bonus. Especially as I put some good hard miles in yesterday. Skiddaw's a steep one and quite long. I think off the top of my head, is it 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 miles from start to the summit, something like that. I'll pop it up on the screen. And I dare say my heart rate got up to a pretty decent level as well. So all in all, it's been a good start to the year, getting some decent camps and some decent miles in. Oh, that being said, it is breakfast time. And that's my breakfast ready to go. As it turns out, I didn't need the spare canister of gas. My little one is just and so eked out. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know in the comments if anybody else ends up with loads of gas canisters with bits of gas left in, because like I say, I must have about 1,000 at home. And it is just under 3 miles back to the car, so I'm going to need this breakfast. The Yeti brekkie to have the energy to get back to the car. It is a relatively simple path back to the car, and although it will be steep down, the path is really good. There's not that many trip points, so I should be able to make some good speed back to the car. And as I've had a relatively flat pitch in my porch area, the first one for quite a while the breakfast's been boiling, I've been able to make a start packing the bag. One thing that worries me while I'm camping is my stove falling over, because as you probably know, when it falls over, not only does the water go everywhere, but the gas flares. So unless I'm relatively flat inside the porch of my tent, I keep an eye on the gas as it's cooking me breakfast. But yeah, we've got a bit of a head start packing up today. And don't forget, if you are interested in how to prepare and use the Mylar bags and the food for it, I have got a video done, whether it's the one before this video or the one after it, I'm not sure. But if that is something that interests you, do check the channel out and go and have a look. And I do love my Yeti brekkies, so if you have managed to cook one, take it with you on a camp, I'd be very interested to know what you think of them. Right, as per usual, I'm going to get myself away and finish my breakfast off, and then finish packing up inside the tent. And that's the tent down and everything packed away, and it's an absolutely beautiful morning here on Skiddaw Little Man. Although it's still dark, the moon's quite bright. You can see the outlines of the mountains and the lights down below in the valley. Just looking over towards Coldbeck and Carlisle. The moon's just behind Skiddaw itself now. See the outlines of the mountains past Keswick. Beautiful, man. There's my rucksack ready to go and the rubbish bags inside there. So as always, and as it should be, I'll be leaving no trace. Right, time to hightail it back to the car. Like I say, it should be a relatively easy walk, despite it being just less than 3 miles. The path's nice and clear and relatively level ground, although that last bit of the descent will be tough on the knees. I'm on that steep bit of the descent now, and to be fair, it's not too bad on the knees. Feeling quite good, legs are good, fitness is good. And I actually met somebody on their way up with a head torch on, so I'm not the only lunatic that walks around the Lake District in the dark. I made really good time getting back, 55 minutes from the top of Skiddaw Little Man back to the car. So I'm really happy with that, and I actually feel better now than I did when I set off yesterday. So the hip and the back seem to have subsided a bit, which is good news for me. I was recently asked why this time of year I walk back in the dark, and there's a few reasons for that. One is obviously the pitch late, leave early rule. The other one is if I lay too long in my bed, my back just seizes up, and that's me knackered for the day. And obviously I've got family at home, so I like to get home. I've spent Saturday camping, walking and what have you, so I like to get home and spend the day with my family. So that's it for another wild camp. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining me on this one. Regular viewers and the new ones, a big thank you for tuning in. So once again, until next time, stay safe, much love from a Cumbrian lad.